Hello and welcome to this session. This is Professor Farhat, in which we would look at contemporary manufacturing technology and productivity concept. Specifically, we will be looking very briefly at automation and robotics, CAM, CAD, CIM, FMS, flexible manufacturing system. Now, why do we have to learn about this? Well, if you're a CMA candidate, you surely need to know about this. Why? Because those topics are tested. But we want to understand the big picture. What's the purpose of this technology and how modern factories use technology? For what? What purpose? What do you think it purpose? Well, I would say there's only one single goal for a business, for a manufacturing business to adopt the technology, and that is to raise productivity. What does it mean? It means produce more unit, faster speed, increased cost, lower the cost per unit, improve quality. And that's the lens through which you have to view the material in this lesson. So we are using technology to help increase productivity. Now, technology will have what's called cost and quality curve. And what does that mean? Well, every time we have a new technology, now specifically here we're looking at manufacturing technology. All technologies tend to start expensive. Think about the iPhone or the computers or any technology, and imperfect as well. And as time goes by, prices fall and reliability rise and adoption accelerate. So we have basically three phases in technology. The first phase is the early phase, here where the cost is very high. Think about the 80s. I like to use computers because that's the most classic one. We can think of AI, we can think of any other technology, but computers are an easy way to relate to, as well as cell phones. But computers, we all use computers. So when computers started in the early 80s, well, not all companies adopted them. They were expensive, they had low adoption. Only the true pioneer, the risk takers, wanted to buy computers to use them, because they were not sure how to use them and how to generate a return on investment. Think about a computer that might cost a few $1,000s back then, small computer that do minimal work. Then the next stage is maturing. During the maturing stage, the underlying mechanics improve. The cost will fall and the quality rises, and adoption will have to be a little bit on a larger scale, more on a larger scale. Think about computers in the early to the mid-90s. Not practically, but more and more people were buying personal computers and using them, even PCs, personal computers. And finally, we have the mainstream. When you hit the mainstream phase, basically this is the promised land. You have low cost and a broad adoption, basically everyone, almost universal adoption across all industries. Or think about flat screen TVs these days. That's a perfect example. 20 years ago, it would cost several grand to buy a flat screen TV, and the pictures were terrible. Now you can buy one for less than $100 from Best Buy. I just want you to see this, because when we talk about these technologies, I want you to understand from a historical perspective what it looks like. Now, on the exam day for the CPA exam, the test writers favor questions that ask you to identify which technology fits a described scenario. So we're going to look at few technologies, starting with computer-aided design, CAD, then move from CAD to CAM, so on and so forth. Let's go ahead and get started. Before we proceed any further, I have a public announcement about my company, farhatlectures.com.
My AI turns any lecture into a complete study system. You can create summary table, formulas, and example from each lecture. Flashcard builds from the lesson itself. A quiz build on the lesson. And as a bonus, convert any lecture into a portable short audio on the go. So it helps you with the retention. No noise, no generic responses, just clarity based on that specific lecture. Don't just watch. Interact, test yourself, and retain the material using Farhat AI. Now go to farhatlectures.com now and see how the AI can help you understand, practice, and retain the material.
The first thing we are going to look at is computer-aided design. What is that? what is a CAD? It's a software. So first thing, it's a software that lets engineer, architect, designer create digital model. When I say digital model means no physical product. Digital models of product and structure. Models can be 2 or 3Ds, dimensional, and rotated to view the design from any angle. So basically here we're looking at something virtual, no physical output. That's what you need to know. Why it raises productivity? Why do we need CAD? Well, designs are revised digitally, no costly physical prototype for every change. You don't need to kind of basically create something, buy the raw material, create it, then it doesn't work. Well, you might be able to do so virtually. Virtually, fit test check whether parts will assemble correctly before anything is built. So before you start to buy the product, you can actually look at the design under stress virtually and save money and time and improve it. And specification flow cleanly into downstream production system. Once that design is, in quote, perfect, then you could move it. For example, let's look at a company that designed bicycle frames. Designer model a new bicycle frame in 3D and run virtual fit test to crack the bottom bracket. Then they find out there's 2 clearance problem on the screen, and they fix them before a single metal part is cut, before they went into production. And they avoided, let's assume, $18,000, and scrap prototype could be $18 million. Who knows, depending on what we are looking at. But the point is, you will save money. So the CAD eliminates that physical waste for every single version of the product. But remember, CAD is designing the product. It doesn't make anything physical, 0 physical output. So you have to keep that in mind. So if CAD is strictly the visual blueprint, we still have to translate the digital into something physical without human hands getting tired or introducing any errors. And this is where we have automation, computer-aided manufacturing. So CAM takes CAD. So first we start with CAD, we design. We're going to take the CAD, the blueprint, and turn it into a physical reality. So what is CAM? And usually CAM is listed under automation, robotics. It's under that umbrella. Using electronics or mechanical machine to carry out tasks with little or no human involvement. CAM is best for repetitive, predictable work where consistency matters more than judgment. Now, CAMs are getting smarter with AI, but that's all we can say for now. So what are the typical benefits for a CAM? Well, fewer workplace safety and health incidents, because if there's a repetitive task, people get injured. Well, you would remove that. Greater consistency and reliability of output. The robot can do the work again and again and again, and they don't get tired, and the output should be the same. Higher throughput, more units per period. And that's basically the main reason why you would go into computer-aided manufacturing, CAM, robotics, to increase the production. So the ultimate payoff is reliability, but lowering also the cost per unit. But to lower the cost per unit, lower long-run unit, once the volume is high. But remember, you might be saying, why don't all companies introduce computer-aided manufacturing, CAM, to their production? Well, obviously, you need money, massive cost up front. So that's why it doesn't have wide adoption, because it may not make sense in every industry. For example, if you're only making, 50 bicycles, we're talking about bicycles per year, or 100, you are not going to buy $2 million robotic welding machine, because you cannot recover that fixed cost making 550 or 500 bicycles. You may need to make 50,000 bicycle frames to make this robotic welding machine make sense. For example, Northwind replaced a hand-picking line with robotics arm that load 1,400 bottles per hour into cases. And as a result, they reduced the defective rate from 4 to 1%. And this way, they also free up 2 individuals from repetitive lifting station, maybe to something more value added. So the point is, CAM does the work. CAD, they design it. CAM does it. It tells the robot what to do But we still have a process. Whatever we are doing, there's a process. Well, we need to have steps. This is where comes the CIM, Computer Integrated Manufacturing. Because once you have the blueprint, you put it into action, you still have to put everything together. So you need a computer integrated manufacturing called CIM. Because remember, every production has a process. And you need that cascading effect to be in order. And what put things in order, glue it together, is CIM. A fully computerized system that ties the whole operation, glue it together. The design, product, schedule, and optimize production, links to the ERP, we talked about the ERP and other system, and monitor performance. So the defining idea is now the machines that talk to each other, because any manufacturing will have a process. Several machines, they need to talk to each other. And each machine will need to read a shared digital job ticket carrying a material requirement, machine setup specification, and production tolerances. And each machine reads a shared digital job ticket. And that job ticket will do what? Will tell you what material do we need for this production batch, machine setup specification, production tolerances, how many units can we produce, then coordinate with the next machine automatically. So this is what the CIM is for. Think about when a dishwasher order is entered into an ERP. We need to manufacture a dishwasher. The system releases a job ticket that automatically set up each station. What material do we need? Reserve the right material. Sequence of the machine. We're going to use machine A. The production will move to machine B, to machine C, so on and so forth. And feeds live throughput data back to management with almost no manual handoff. So this is what we need. We need this CIM to coordinate the production. It's the glue that put everything together. So what's CIM? The takeaway, it's integration. It connects design, scheduling, ERP, and the shop floor into one system. Then we have the flexible manufacturing system, which is FMS. It's a system built to customize output. Let me go back and talk about the CIM first. Remember, we ordered this machine. So once we ordered the machine, all the parts are ordered, so on and so forth. Let me give you maybe a simpler example. Think about you go into a restaurant. The waiter or the waitress comes to you and you ordered a steak. Great. They will pull their tablet and they'll put down, you ordered a steak. Great. Once they click on that button, ordering the steak, think about this as a CIM, it will send that message automatically to the chef to start the process, prepare the side salad, set the grill temperature to the exact perfect heat that you requested the steak to be cooked on, so on and so forth. But here's what's going to happen. What if you changed your mind? You want to change your order. Rather than the steak, let's go back to the dishwasher. What happened if you don't want a standard dishwasher? You want a specialized dishwasher, maybe different frame or something like that. Well, we're going to have what's called a flexible manufacturing system. It's a system built to customize output. So products do not all fall into the same path. Each job ticket can reroute the process so the plant adapts quickly to changing customer demand. So this works closely to CIM because it has to take the order from the CIM and readjust. Readjust means reroute, make the adjustment. So the CIM stresses integration, FMS stresses flexibility and customization. So once you change your order, we need a system that's flexible enough that will do that. So this is what FMS. So let's go back and look at them real briefly. Make sure you are comfortable in case you get a multiple choice question. CAD, design product digitally, 2Ds and 3Ds. Nothing, no output. It's a draw design. CAM runs machine and robot to make output, make, automate. CIM integrate the design, the scheduling, the ERP, and the floor. Connect everything. That's the glue. And FMS, customize and reroute per job ticket. It's designed to be flexible, adaptable. All four can coexist in a modern plant. They are layers, not rival. They help each other. Make sure you are familiar with those four concepts. Let's take a look at this multiple choice question from farhatlectures.com. Granite Toolworks model a new gearbox housing in 3D software and runs a virtual fit test to the internal gears before any metal is machined. And as a result, they catch two inference problems on screen. This activity is an example of what? Is it CIM, Computer Integrated Manufacturing, CAM, Computer Aided Manufacturing, CAD, Computer Aided Design, D, Flexible Manufacturing System, FMS? So basically this question is, do you know what definition, which item, which automated system explain what's given in the problem? Is it A? Well, what's the role of the CIM? The role of the CIM is to glue everything together, integrating ERP, scheduling, and the shop floor in one operating system. Is this what we're describing here? I don't see that. So it's not CIM. Is it computer aided manufacturing? B, it's manufacturing. Are we manufacturing anything yet? No manufacturing is going on here. It's only design. Therefore, manufacturing, it's not a CAM. Is it computer aided design, CAD? And the answer is yes. Creating a 3D model and performing virtual fit test to check whether the parts will assemble correctly is a classic CAD function. So I would say C is the correct answer. And D, flexible manufacturing systems, is that the correct answer? Well, this is basically describing a product, design of a product, not flexibility, rerouting production, or anything to that effect. Therefore, the answer is C as in Charlie. Now, if you're a CMA candidate, accounting student, CPA, what you should do, go to Farhat Lectures, look at additional resources, lectures, multiple choice, cases that will help you, whether you are studying for a professional certification or taking a class. The best investment you can make is invest in yourself, invest in your knowledge, invest in your career, and God bless.